Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Yesterday was the Super Bowl. A lot of people up late, guys. We're starting 15 minutes late. My apologies for that. I actually have strep throat. Welcome to having kids. They get us all sick, guys. But we've got a good show packed for y'all today. What we're going to be doing mainly is reviewing what you guys want me to review. I made a couple posts on X. People gave me a lot of really good suggestions. And so I want to just do some live research on stream. I think that's how we can all learn. Obviously, we all have our own conviction plays, but how do we learn? We always have to be students of the game, especially when the market looks like this. Because when the market looks like this, yeah, some of them will never return, but there's some of them out there that are doing a real deal building, solving real world use cases that we might pass up on if we do not do our own research. So that's exactly what we are going to do. Caleb reposted the stream. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here, guys. As always, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Blofin. Guys, there's only 2 hours left in this campaign. So if you want, there will be a promotional link pinned on my X page. It's the only exchange I use to do my type of futures trading. But before we get into everything, remember, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is financial advice. Never listen to some random guy on YouTube for financial advice. Just use it as a part of your research. But shout out to Blofin. I've been extremely happy with everything they've been able to offer and their exchange. We'll go over some stuff in a little bit. If you're watching over on X, make sure you drop a follow. We are growing, just up 300 or 400 followers over the weekend. We had a couple good semi-viral posts, so that's great. And if you're over on YouTube, please hit the like button, give it a big old thumbs up. It helps the algorithm more than you know. And if you're not subscribed, come on, what are we doing? Subscribe and join the Finance Freeman family. Well, let's come over here to Blofin and take a look at BTC. I've been trading recently. Solana opened up along at 80. Been trading, range trading in here because I don't believe, and like I said, never financial advice, I don't believe the low is in. I believe the low may be in for the foreseeable future, but overall, I don't believe it's in. So just range trading, like up here to down here, things like that is what I personally like to do in situations like this. I mean, come on, situations like this. But there's got to be some good plays out there that we are missing, that we are not educated on. So we are going to get into all of that. I made this clip right here talking about some of the cryptos that I'm extremely bullish on going forward. And you can see AI, one of my major plays that I like and want to be acquiring over the next, let's say 3-4 months through summer, is going to be BitTensor Tau. RWA, there's Ondo, Canton, but there's also some other ones, some low caps that I really like. And Ondo, I've talked about how does the governance token actually bridge with tokenization of assets. Is there a bridge between the two? So that's always a concern. Whenever we take a look, privacy, ZEC, and XMR, that's a narrative that's not going away. And then Cass and Algorand. Algorand is a partner of the channel, but there's someone that's building big time real world asset use cases. They have Alpha Arcade, which I actually did some predictions on over the weekend, but it's already the third largest prediction market. And so you could see this posted pretty well, guys, 51.1K views as of the time of looking at this. So I said, why not just ask the people what they would like to review, what they would like to go over and everything. And so we got a lot of suggestions. And if you have any more suggestions, just drop it in a comment, whether you're over on X or YouTube. I'll definitely be able to see it. But good morning to all. Good afternoon to all. But before we get started, I want to go over what Michael Saylor is doing. This was a post this morning. Strategy has acquired 1,142 BTC for $90 million. At 78K per Bitcoin. Okay, let's go take a look at his previous post, if we're coming over here to X, we can see that he made another post recently. This was the previous purchase at a very high price. Okay. I forget exactly what it was. Let's come find it. But this guy's always buying the top. You could see right here, February 2nd, 88K per Bitcoin. At the time he posted this, it was like 75K per Bitcoin. What he posted today, as we can see here, is extremely high based off of the lows that he would have been able to get. And now all of these purchases, to my knowledge, for MicroStrategy are going to be over the counter, okay, which is, directly. So it's not something that affects the price, instantly, right? Obviously, he's hodling, but it doesn't affect it previously. But they've got to have a better strategy in this, because what I posted was that, when you're a public company, you have a fiduciary duty to do what's best for your shareholders, okay? And I don't think what Michael Saylor's strategy is that Bitcoin was literally 60K a few nights ago. This is gross incompetence for shareholders at the highest degree for MicroStrategy. So they definitely need a better dollar cost averaging strategy rather than just deploying all the capital the second that they could do it. They need to really have some technical, analysis folks working there, and some actual, metrics to base it around. You can't just say, we're always just going to buy. I don't care what the price is. I don't care what the price is, because that's gross incompetence for shareholders of MicroStrategy. And we've seen MicroStrategy get a very good pump recently. Let's see if they have it over here on Blofin. Yeah, right here. So you see they have all kinds of stuff. They have Circle, they just listed stocks, everything. So if you're just joining, guys, there will be a link down below. But you can see, so they just listed this a few days ago, or actually a few hours ago. That's crazy. The team's on it very, very quick to list stuff. But if we come over to TradingView, we're going to see that MicroStrategy, the number one digital asset company, was like $100 on Friday. It had hit. You can see right here, it had hit, what was that, 104 on this, and it instantly went back to like 130 or pretty quickly. But that's gross incompetence to full clip. Like, we're not talking about small dollar cost averaging buys here. We're talking about 90 million doll hairs at 78K per Bitcoin. And when we think about this, his average is just continuing to climb up. When we look at this, average per Bitcoin is 76,000 approximately. Okay. So they own 714,000 BTC, getting close to 4% of the overall supply. And they're averaging up at a time where you could be averaging down. Like, what are you doing, Michael Saylor? Seriously. Could have had orders in at 60, could have orders at the 200-week moving average 58.1, so I just do not understand the thought process behind what MicroStrategy is doing. It's like they're coming in, being exit liquidity for a ton of people. But I do want to get into some of the projects. So let's come over here and let's see if we can look by likes and see if we can look at any way to get that. Okay, so this is obviously some group. We're going to take a look into it. But Synapse, you're missing the one people haven't even framed correctly yet. Synapse, not an app, not a chatbot. It's a governed swarm AI infrastructure running 512 node architecture, multiple specialized agents coordinating in parallel, not a single monolithic model like everyone else. This is the best. This is the layer institutions actually need once regulation, execution, and scale matter. So let's take a look at it, guys. None of these that we're about to review are sponsored. I don't have any connection with any of these cryptocurrencies. We're just going to go through them and do honest reviews and see if maybe we can find a gem, a little diamond in the rough. Let's go over. What's up, man? Hey, PT, hello, GM. If you're just joining us, the reason I'm a little late is because I have strep throat. I just started antibiotics, the little hangy thing in the back of my throat. I can't even see the bottom of it. So my throat's sore. I'm trying to drink some tea. But, there's an old adage that I once heard somebody say, crypto don't care if you're sick or not. No, I'm joking. I never heard that. But it is the truth. And I'm here to provide y'all the absolute best crypto content, the most genuine opinions on crypto, whether you're over on X, whether you're on YouTube. That's exactly what we're doing here for the Finance Freeman family. And I'm appreciative of every single one of you all. Zebra. Is that a crypto or you like zebras? Let me know. Let me know and we could look into it. So let's come take a look at this. Okay, they follow me, so that's a 1 point. I'm joking. UK registered company, okay, privacy, robotics, and meme culture. It's kind of like they're digging into a lot of different things here, okay. A Bitcoin replacement concept that actually possible in Synapse, a quantum ready settlement chain, no mining, no energy waste. I disagree with mining being energy waste. It's a part of security, but we're going to keep looking. So Synapse, SYNAPZ. So let's come over here. Okay, so doesn't look like they're on Coin Market Cap yet. Let's go look at DEX. Maybe it's over here. It doesn't look like it. They should definitely, just from like a marketing perspective, should definitely have a way to find the crypto from this page. Let me make sure I have my antivirus on because I don't play around with that. Okay, let's look. Snaps is a AI execution layer governed. Let's take a look. So registered, they have a patent pending. Live now, live market data, market cap. Oh wow, that's a small one. Okay, 400. Not a bad thing, right? Small's not bad. Small could potentially mean early, but there's obviously greater risk with smaller market cap assets. 453K, 1K in volume, very low volume to market cap, 18 transactions, 55. I mean, it looks like a good idea. Unique AI powered personalities. Yeah, I mean, it looks okay. We have to check the chart. I don't see the contract address anywhere. I wish I could find that, but yeah, right now let's get back over here, see what everybody's saying. The stream is super cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I love you too. I love you too. Ewick, repost to the stream. Shout out to Nitro. Let's see. Real Talk Bullish. Zebek. Okay. There's a few of those. Oh, look, I said shout out Nitro before you even said Nitro. I'm ahead of you, brother. I'm ahead of you. Best hold, we had to argue because I mean I think there's better crypto in general, right? But as far as memes, you're not going to find, you'll be hard pressed to find a better community. So I'll give that to you 100%. I agree. Looks like a new one. Surely it's Cass all the way. Cass is definitely, it was in the original post, and if you're just joining, I'm trying to review what the community wants to see. And so, and I mentioned there's a couple more hours to join this for our sponsor, Blofin, the only DEX or the only SEX that I use, centralized exchange. So whenever we come over here and take a look at what else people are saying, these are definitely the ones that's like a lock for me. Tau, Ondo, Canton is one that I'm very interested in, but it's not one that I have opened a position in just because of the recent price action of it. And I do not like to top blast anything. If you take a look at this chart, pretty impressive. Like coming over here to market cap, when it launched, came down to about a $2 billion market cap, and throughout everything going on with crypto, Bitcoin, the bubbles that we looked at, Canton's one that is green, right? And so I'm definitely trying to find my own position into that. But when we come over here and look at Canton, this was one that a lot of people wanted additional research on. Canton Foundation, the foundation ensures fair governance and oversight of the global can't talk today with strep throat. The decentralized system that connects everything across the Canton network. And so this is very much real world asset focused. And I'm extremely bullish on two narratives going forward. And these are narratives that I believe have real world use case. One of them is artificial intelligence. I believe we need to bring AI on chain. I believe that's best for humanity. I believe that's safest for humanity. And I believe it's the only way that autonomous agents will be able to pay for services. Okay. AI agents aren't going to be opening bank accounts at Wells Fargo, right? Let's just be honest. What they're going to be doing is transacting on the blockchain, micro transactions, things like that. So whatever chain can really integrate, whether that's Caspa, whether that's Basis trying to do it now, whether that's Solana, can really become the AI chain, they're going to win. But the second one is right up Canton's alley, which is real world assets. Whether that's stable coins, something I'm extremely bullish on, whether that's tokenizing of real estate, medical records, everything I believe will be on chain in a very short amount of time. And so Canton is one that obviously has a lot of institutional adoption already. It's very, very early to this, but just look at all the founding members, all these very large partners that they have, the ecosystem. They already have explorers built. So Canton is one that I'm definitely hoping I can get a decent entry on, and I'm not just top blasting. But then again, if you look at the chart, if I would have thought that back here, top blasting, sure, it went down a little bit, but then, right back up to 20 cents. So it's definitely extremely strong whenever we're looking at everything. But those are the narratives that I really, excuse me, guys, my throat. Those are the narratives that I really, really want to look at, and I want to review a couple comments. This is funny, so this video, I'll share this video. Let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to, but it was just a small clip. Don't think we're ever going to see a time again where you could just blindly throw a dart at something, and make a 20x or whatever, like it was, last cycle. Don't think, okay, y'all should have been able to hear that. If you couldn't, let me know and I'll get that fixed. But so it was just that short thing. And this person says, why make this post unless you want others to buy your bags? First off, I listed like all top 30 cryptos, right? Like top 30, 50. I think the lowest one's like Casper Algorand around like 60 at market cap. Anyways, those are market caps. There's no way, shape, or form I have the bags to affect. If I did, I probably wouldn't be here streaming with strep throat. I'm just joking. I do this because I love it. But there's a lot of selections. And so somebody just now said Zebek. And then this was a comment right here, ZBCN. The only thing I don't like about it is I don't like the ticker, ZBCN. I wish it was a little different. But Zebek is one that is honestly one of the only projects built on Solana that's like in the AI realm or in any kind of real world asset realm, like utility realm. That's not a meme coin that I really like. When we come take a look at it, 220M market cap. If we go back all time, let's switch to market cap. So you can see no real inflation. I've always showed in the live streams why I look at market cap versus raw price, and Solana is a perfect example of that. But you can see it was kind of sitting down here anywhere between the 50 and 150 mil range. And then bam, it took off mid last year, hit 600. And now it's retracing, and we can do some technical analysis on this as well, just to try to see like good price targets. So we're right here in between. 786 is 169. 886 would probably put it right back to around this 120 level. But when we really look at what they're building, it's a lot. It's a lot of really cool stuff that Zebek is building. Where real-time meets real world stablecoin payroll and seamless payfi. And where I think they're going to do the best in is payments on stable coins, payments, just payments all the way around. Okay. 500M annual payroll volume. They have a card, 250 plus enterprise clients, 50K plus monthly users on and off chain. Okay. Spend your crypto anywhere, anytime with Zebit cards. I really need to get a card and do a review on it. Spend your crypto assets like cash with Zebit card anywhere, right? I haven't used the card, but this is what I like to look for whenever I'm looking at like a mid cap project. Okay, this is 220M. It's definitely going to be, categorized as like a mid cap project, But look at these partners that they have: Mastercard, Dutch Bank, Circle, which is behind USDC, Algorand, Solana. A couple of them I don't know as sure, but NatPay, but Uphold. So these are all very big institutional partnerships that they have. And something like Zebec, what I think they are going to benefit the most from is going to be this new legislation that we have coming through. There's going to be legislation coming through very, very soon via the Clarity Act talking about stable coins. Okay. It's all about yield. That's what everyone is waiting for, is to be able to get legislation on stable coins right here. And let's see if this
rally.
is
the Dow was up 1,200 points, 2.5%. The Nasdaq was up 1%. Even gold was up. And when you look at year to date, actually gold has outperformed stocks. Gold up 14.
Is really what are the catalysts for Bitcoin price to improve? Look, I think the fundamental catalysts are regulatory support. We have the most constructive set of financial regulators in the history of the industry right now. The head of the Fed, the head of the Treasury, the head of the CFTC, the head of the SEC, and the White House has a digital assets.
I just want to say, out of all these people, who looked the most stressed out? Okay. Is it Michael Saylor who keeps top blasting, or is it Tom Lee who bought all of his Ethereum at 4K and is now down $8 billion? It's a little, oh man, poor guy. I bet he does not sleep good at night.
Czar, right? Those 5 things are massive bull flags. They're all very positive, and generally you would expect that something good will come probably out of the CFTC or the SEC as they are constructive about facilitating financial.
So regulation is going to be huge. I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for. Y'all know that I'm extremely bullish on Circle. That's the company that's behind USDC. And they even were recently listed on Blofin. I actually requested if we could get that. And so this is one that I've talked about a lot on my channel, on X, things like that. It ICO'd at $31. This is stock right behind the stablecoin. Then it went up to 300. This is crazy movement out of a stock. If we come over here and take a look. And so that just shows you the interest that Wall Street has on being able to get into and around stable coins with legislation. You can see it ICO down here at 31 and bam, went up to 300. And now it bounced perfectly off the 786 fib level right there for Circle. So there's a lot of interest into stable coins. I think it's going to be the way that the US dollar gains dominance and stays the world reserve currency. And something like ZBCN, I believe, is going to be one of the largest beneficiaries of it. Okay. So coming over here to the white paper, kind of boring to read if we look at it. But the only thing I really wanted to point out here is everything they are in accordance to. You could see accordance with regulation, this, and the EU. So they're doing everything by the book, right? Zebek's not just some, fly by night project that's gonna, do something now and ask, permission later. They're working to get everything registered legally, top notch, so that they can lead stablecoin payroll infrastructure. Even for my business, what I'm doing, I have editor, I have different people that I work with that I have to pay monthly, and I pay in stable coins or in some form of cryptocurrency, but mainly stable coins. And it's just seamless. But we're right now with a big fight against the banks because of stable coin yields. And so until that legislation gets pushed through, then we may continue to see some of these, or maybe the entire crypto sector, in my belief, but especially these real world asset or companies such as Circle on the New York Stock Exchange may continue to see those go down. But the main goal in my analysis is looking through all of these and trying to figure out which one is down major but is going to lead the industry. Not Polkadot. I don't care about Polkadot, right? If you're into Polkadot, sorry. If you're into Chili's, don't even know what that is, right? But there's a lot of these that are they're just being drugged down with the overall crypto market cap. And Zebic is one of those that I believe so. So surely it's cast all the way. It's definitely cast a lot of the way. Yield, very interesting what's going on over at Zephyr Protocol. This is one that was highly requested as well. The world's first over-collateralized private yield-bearing proof of work stablecoin. Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it in just a second. I'll come back to that in just a minute. But let's come back over to that post and see what else people had. Okay, a lot of people mentioned KTA, and I have heard of it before. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this and you're somebody that likes KTA. I had a few comments on it that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not going to lie. Like this guy said, not buying KTA, rookie. And I'm like, I never understood this path of trying to shill a token. Seems poor return in my opinion. Like if I wanted somebody to watch the Finance Freeman YouTube channel and I commented on him like, you don't watch Finance Freeman, you idiot? Like, dude, like what? Like how do you think that is in any way, shape, or form inviting, respectful? But whatever, these are people that are, just anons on X and probably just talking crap to make themselves feel better. But then he said, you don't have to. But the fact of the matter is, I don't necessarily care about that guy, but I care about my community. And if there's something good that we should look into, we should definitely look into it. So let's go take a look at KTA and see. I did look at the chart a little bit earlier, and it doesn't look good. But then again, what chart does look good right now? So let's review this and see what I think about it. So Kita currently ranked 229th overall market cap. If we take a look, market cap's currently 126 mil, 5 mil in volume. So that's approximately it actually tells you right here, 3.73 volume to market cap ratio, kind of low, if I'm being honest, but that's not always bad. When you look at a lot of these tokens that have market makers and they're listed on exchanges, a lot of that's kind of market making volume, which really can't be seen the same way as actual demand volume. So 135,000 holders. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. If we look at the circulating supply, we could see 486 mil, which is about 48% of what will ever be floating around. Okay, here's a base contract address. Okay, so it's on base. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, wow, got some really good exchanges: Airdrome Finance, Dex, Uniswap, obviously, Coinbase, Mexi, BingX, Kraken, Bitmark. Okay. Come over here. Let's go back a year. So This is going back to October of 2025. So we're talking about 4 months time frame. They've went from 123K holders to 135K. I wish we could filter this, and I'll find a way to do it. Maybe I'll have to vibe code something, but find a way where we can take these holders and look on chain to who holds a balance over, say, $50 or something like that, and then kind of get the real holder amount, so that we don't know, is it all just, fluff or is it true? So 66.02 in the top 10. If this was like a new meme coin or something, obviously that would be scary. But whenever you're taking a look at like exchanges like this, odds are the bulk of those are exchanges and the liquidity pool. And so it's not something that worries me too much. So about Kita, as a scalable and efficient solution, Kita serves as a common ground for diverse payment networks. Okay, this is a narrative that I like. Facilitating direct interactions across multiple blockchains. Its native tokenization and rule engines allow participants to create and manage digital or real world assets. Cool. Let's come over here and take a look at the website, and we're going to take a look at the X. So if we come over here, where networks connect, Kita serves as a common ground for all payment networks. Let me know if anyone here is into Kita. One network ready for anything. Move assets across networks, trade real world assets, compliance when it counts. Meet regulations for TradFi channels, no extra friction. Kita is orders of magnitude more scalable and efficient than existing solutions. This is Eric Schmidt. Oh, wow. Former CEO of Google and Kita investor. Decentralized marketplace, leverage Kita's cross-chain protocol. Guys, I like it. I like it. Let's look. The future of blockchain. Discover how we're taking blockchain technology to new heights. Kita, sub-second transaction finality. Transaction fees reduced to pennies. 10 million plus, wow. 10 million plus transactions per second. Native tokenization built in compliance protocols. Let's come over here to the X. The world's most scalable blockchain network. I like this. I like when they try to keep the community safe by keep saying, hey, if someone's reaching out, it's not us. So January 27th, Kita is now available to New York residents. Okay. Let's look at this. Kita isn't. Oh, this is that one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they acquired a bank for like not a lot of money. And I was like, what is, how can someone buy a bank for that? But Kita has entered into an agreement to acquire a bank, marking a strategic step towards expanding Kita's regulated capabilities and enabling deeper participation within the global financial system. Yeah, this is huge. So it was approved, the allocation of 35 mil KTA from the strategic reserve to support this effort. So I'm reading this essentially as that's what the currency they paid in was KTA. Any use of these tokens would be undertaken in a measured and orderly manner over time. Kita currently anticipates that substantial portion of the allocated KTA would be retained to support ongoing capital requirements. So if we look over 35 million, let's make sure we got enough zeros. 3, 6, yeah. So yeah, 9 mil USD in tokens looks like was paid. Obviously, I wonder how they have this. I'd be very interested in interviewing someone from Kita and having them up on the stream. If you see this, shoot me a DM. Would love to have you on. We're going to be having Algorand on a little later in this week to talk about a couple things. And we're going to have Quai Network on, Alan from Quai, to talk about what they are doing as well. So trying to get Robert Mao from Art Block up here. We're going to have some really good guests for you guys. So yeah, this is one that I'm definitely interested in. I we'll probably make a long form detailed review video. So thank you to the very rude individual that told me about it. Look deeper, but he follows me, so I guess I'll give him a break. Maybe he's having a bad day or something. But yeah, keto looks really good. Let's come back over here and see what people are saying in the comments. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. About 200 live. Cool. Very interesting what's going on over at Zephyr. Okay, yeah, that's what we just went over to. Just a note on Zephyr, the ecosystem asset ZYS has a current APY of around 25%, sustainable from proof of work block reward. They're currently building an ETH bridge, which will give much needed liquidity. Will be the highest APY on DeFi, and it's sustainable. Anyways, check it out, my friend. Hope your throat gets better. Yeah, buddy. I should be better soon. They gave me some antibiotics. And so just amoxicillin. So the strep throat should be down by tomorrow. I've just been trying to drink tea with lemon and honey. So that's kind of what I'm going for, trying to make that feel better. But okay, let's look into this because it is one that I have seen. So let's come over here. Let's look at coin market cap. And like we were trying to look up that project earlier, that smaller project that had shielded under my post. And, it's just important that these projects get on things like coin market cap if they want to have any kind of legitimacy, because, like when I'm sitting here reviewing it, obviously, coin market cap is one of the best place to look for tokens. It does cost about $5,000, at least it used to be on there. CoinGecko is about $1,000 for a listing, last I heard. So that's another option, but I definitely use CoinMarketCap more so than CoinGecko. But yeah, guys, we're coming up to 200 in the stream, guys. Very happy about that number. If you're just joining in, please repost the stream. Please give it a good old likey, and let's get in here and talk about some more cryptos that you guys like. So Zephyr Protocol, Fishin and what's your name? Fishin Dan. Okay, you showed me a bad looking chart, buddy. You're gonna have to explain this. No, I'm just joking. Whenever I look at a crypto, I really don't judge it by the chart, and I'll tell you why. Because at a certain point, obviously, you have to judge a crypto by the chart. You have to judge a company by the chart, stock, whatever. But I've often said, and I've heard smartest minds in the world talking about this, like Warren Buffett and stuff, that the stock and the company are not always the same. Like, Jeff Bezos had a really good thing about this. In the early days of Amazon was originally like selling books, right? And he's seen all their tech metrics were going up. Everything they were doing, more customers, more everything, cheaper fees, cheaper shipping, all those were going up, but the price of the stock was going down. And things like that are like, that's the prime opportunity, right? And so obviously at a certain point you have to judge a project by the price. However, they're not always in any given time correlated, right? There could be a lot of work going on. Caspa is a perfect example of that, but let's come over to market cap. And I don't know why it's not loading, but the reason I like to look at market cap, and for anyone new here, I'll give you a really quick example, is because if you have an inflationary token, which like proof of work is inflationary to a certain degree, just taking a look at Solana, you can see Solana's at $87. And if you look at this, you're like, wow, it's like a third of the price it was at the top of last cycle. However, if you come to market cap, you could see it's actually about the same price as it was last cycle. There's just been a ton of inflation into the token. So that's why I personally like to look at market cap, because if there's only a few tokens in circulation back here, the actual market cap, the actual interest would be a lot larger, right? And so this could kind of be misinterpreted some ways, but yeah, let's take a look. So 7 mil market cap, 11 mil total supply, circulating supply. I almost feel like that's the wrong token. Let's come over here to the website. Zephyr Protocol, the untraceable stablecoin method protocol. I mean, that could catch some hype with the meta. So let's see. Chart ugly, but put on the 1 year chart. There was an exploit which was patched a year ago. Community very strong. Okay, yeah, very similar like ICP. If you look at the ICP chart, it looks like the same, right? Like pretty bad. But yeah, if we come back here and just kind of say, okay, here's the life of the chart, it looks a lot better. And I completely understand that. I would never write off anything because of something that happened at launch or anything like that, right? And so if we look, if I was coming, I say, okay, here's a floor, right? It's kind of been support multiple times, support, you know, even drag this up just a little bit. So it definitely bounced off this 50-cent support, but you can see a lot of people are using this as, you know, something in the privacy sector, because you see they're talking about Monero and things like that. So it's already being correlated to the overall privacy narrative, which is extremely bullish. The untraceable stablecoin Zephyr ZSD is the Zephyr stablecoin. ZRS is the Zephyr reserve share. Okay, we're gonna have to do some research on this one, guys, because this is there's a lot of stuff going on. Let's see if we can watch this.
Zephyr protocol gives users access to highly competitive yield on their stablecoins by simply staking their ZSD within the native Zephyr wallet. ZSD, our native stablecoin, and all other assets in the Zephyr ecosystem benefit from Monero-grade encryption, ensuring complete privacy. So how do you start earning that yield? The process is simple. First, purchase Zeph from one of our supported.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I wonder, yeah, I would like to see documentation on like what the stable coin is backed by. We know for anything operating in the US after the Genius Act that was passed last year, stable coins have to be one-to-one backed, which is why I'm so big on Circle or USDC versus Tether, just because, not that there's Tether FUD, any of that, but the regulatory scrutiny that Circle or USDC operate under is by having one-to-one backing by short-term U.S. Treasuries. So they're actually backed by something, and you don't have to worry too much. So assets, UIS, average APY. Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to be cautious. Anything offering like very high APY, I'll just be honest, is risky. And even if it's not risky, it's very inflationary, because if it comes from block reward emissions, that's a lot of tokens being put out, you know. Zephyr yield shares, ZYS, proof of work block emissions, 5% of every block reward is allocated to the yield reserve. ZYS holders own a claim to this growing pool. Stablecoin yield, source, Ondo. Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's a really good narrative. I wouldn't mind talking to somebody from the team and getting to know more about the project, you know, to see what the long-term visions are, things like that. That's it's a interesting one. Thanks for doing it. It's always backed by at least 400. Okay, so that's what you meant by over collateralized right here. So yeah, that's very interesting. I wonder if this is 400%, if that's like written into their code somehow, or is that what they're just claiming right now? Because like if demand increases a lot, right, what happens? But yeah, it's definitely a small project overall if this is accurate, 7 mil. But I do want to get into one that's larger, because people were asking me about Render, okay? And Render is a project that I like a lot. And I don't know why. Okay, so I want to get into Render because I think AI is going to change the world. Like I was saying, there's no way that artificial intelligence agents open up bank accounts and pay autonomously for services that way, right? And so it's going to all happen on chain and stuff. And we also know that computing power is very hard to come by. Unlimited GPU rendering supports all leading GPU rendering services. Transform your creative workflow with the speed and scale of the render network. Now, what you have to do about this, you have to always look at how is there a link between the underlying token and the services that they offer. Okay, so what I mean by that is if Render had a company behind it that was selling all these services, GPU rendering, how is the actual token tied into it? If you know what I mean, because sometimes there is no tie, right? And it's kind of like, you know, what do they say in Wolf of Wall Street? Fugazi. Ooh. I've still never watched that movie because my attention span's that of like a 5-year-old child, but I definitely need to. So let's go. Unleashing the power of the render network with real-time distribution of your job across hundreds of nodes, you achieve speed unthinkable on local workstations or traditional render farms. And this is why I'm so excited about having legislation. Even if the legislation isn't specifically around render or anything like that. Whenever there is guidelines, okay, because in the past, everyone was always worried about being labeled a security by the SEC or something like that. But once we have actual legislation and rules and that using blockchain technology is, you know, an acceptable manner and a safe manner, guys, I believe we are going to see our industry just absolutely grow. So distributed GPU rendering, unlike traditional clouds, okay, so think of this as like Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, things like that. Unlike traditional cloud render farms, render network is purpose-built for massively scalable distributed GPU rendering. Our global network of high-performance GPUs enable lightning-fast rendering of the most complex scenes with real-time distribution of your job across hundreds of nodes. You know, like just think about all of these data centers being built out right now. You know, everyone's wanting chips and everyone's wanting power. And so whenever you're doing stuff like that, you know, they've been talking about SMRs, like small nuclear reactors that can build power or generate power just for these little specific, you know, data centers that take a ton of power. But what if with things like Render or projects like Akash that we'll go over in just a minute, what if you could just use the power from all these different places? Like, for instance, my computer. If I could put my GPU up for rent when I'm not recording content or utilizing it, it would spread all that out in a way, and I think make it cheaper and efficient because you don't have the infrastructure cost that come up, you know, with things. So Render is one that I really like. Another one that I just mentioned is Akash. And Akash is a lot smaller. Wow, it's under 100 M market cap right now. It wasn't too long ago. It was way up there. Look at this, 1.6 bill. Now it's all the way down to 90. Is someone wake this thing up? But this is one that I like, the decentralized cloud built for AI's next frontier. So you can see this is very similar to Render, but you can see the operating cost and how this makes sense. So GPUs at cost that scale. And you can see this is basically how much it costs someone to rent one of these different GPUs or utilize them per hour. And you can see Akash is definitely the cheapest, and it's the way that they operate, from being able to basically rent these GPUs from all around the world on a decentralized network versus all the infrastructure it takes for AWS to build a big warehouse and have everything like that. But I think this is something that's going to take time, and time only can solve it, because people have to be able to trust the blockchain, you know, or trust crypto. Sorry, one of my lights unplugged, guys. But gonna have to trust it, you know, and it just takes time. Like, is a large institution gonna switch over to AWS from AWS to Akash, you know, and trust their entire architecture or their entire company on it, you know? Probably not. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some time. But there's no doubt in my mind, no doubt that is where we are going, guys. No doubt in my mind. Let's get back over here to the comments. Thanks for looking at it. Of course, buddy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. XRP. I knew I'd have an XRP guy in here. One Titans. Let me know your price prediction for XRP. I want to see if it's realistic or not. But let me know. I do like XRP. So let's look. The Ripple blockchain is used, but the XRP token isn't. They sell it to find Ripple. I mean, you know, Ripple and XRP is one that, you know, if you tell me $10,000, I'll probably call you crazy, but just because of sheer market cap alone. But XRP isn't going anywhere. I mean, we've seen this earlier in the year or at the end of last year. It was, I believe, like 5th overall, and it passed up BNB. And you can see, I mean, these are so close right now. 87.2 market cap, 87.9 market cap. But there's no denying that Ripple has, in the XRP ledger, has a grip on institutions. I was watching a Patrick Bet-David podcast. I don't know if any of y'all know about it. And he was talking about the, you know, this is more of like a political thing. I listen to that to try to stay updated with what's happening. And he was like, I bought more Bitcoin and I bought more XRP, you know? And so there's definitely a huge community with XRP. I'll say the thing I like most about XRP is the community. Like, these people are resilient, and that's the kind of friend I want. Like, I want someone that's going to be with me through thick or thin, you know, whether it's good times, bad times. I don't care. That's what I want. That's what I want. XRP has a strong community like Cardano. Yeah, for sure. So XRP, there's no doubt about it, you know, that it has a lot of institutional adoption. But is it going to completely replace SWIFT on its own? SWIFT payment system, you know, that's originally what I heard a lot of XRP folks talking about. But forget all that. Like, there's no denying there's a lot of demand for XRP. If you come back all time, let's switch to market cap to take into account inflation. You can see where we're sitting right now at this 87 bill is a pretty big support level, I would say. You know, it's kind of the, like, if we look right here, that one has more touch points. But if we come exactly up to this top of last cycle, you can see that's currently where it's sitting at. You know, XRP had a good run last year. You know, to some people in crypto, they may be like, oh, a 6X. I remember my first beer. But, you know, you've got to think about the size of this asset. Like, there's a lot of money going into it for it to do a 6X and be able to move. So XRP is definitely one that, if it got down to the right level throughout the bear market, that it's definitely one that I would, you know, feel okay with. You know, I think a good portfolio is divided up, and we can do a portfolio building stream one day, but I think a good portfolio is built over being able to mitigate risk. I think going into, you know, top 10 cryptos, things that have been around for years, are going to be around for years or forever, hopefully, you know, having those is like a large portion, you know. And then you could have maybe 5% for meme coins and having fun and trying to, you know, catch something very high, but also knowing that there's a good chance it goes to zero, right? And then having 20-30%, what I like to do, into things that are, you know, maybe sub 100 M market cap, that are, you know, 200 to 400 market cap range, because that's where you get the exponential, you know, opportunities and growth. However, never financial advice, but those are also very risky, right? And so you've got to be able to balance everything out whenever we're
15% year to date. Yes.
At it. But it's been rough, you know, it's been rough in crypto recently. And I've been around for 5 of the 6. Okay. Not the 2012 one, but I've been in crypto. I knew of crypto in 2012, but that was actually the year I was graduating high school. But all the other ones, you know, I've been active in crypto through. And in all these times, people thought crypto was done, right? And so I'm more bullish on cryptocurrency, blockchain technology right now than I've ever been. Like the adoption that we are having now is second to none. Like it's you could have never imagined this type of adoption. And so let's listen to this right here. This is Cynthia Loomis. She's very big pro crypto individual. And so let's watch this and I'll comment.
You know, we got off the gold standard a long time ago. My question is how much you would spend tax dollars at a time when we're talking about trying to reduce costs. How much would you spend on Bitcoin as part of this reserve?
We wouldn't have to spend any new dollars. We have reserves at our 12 Federal Reserve banks, including gold certificates that could be converted to current fair market value. They're held at their 1970s value on the books, and then sell them.
So a lot of people probably don't understand what she was talking about. But if we go over and look at the balance sheet and Federal Reserve, so let's look at this. How much is the USA gold worth on the books? Okay. And it should tell us something like right here. Okay. The United States government holds approximately 261 million troy ounces of gold, which on the books is 42.22 per ounce. Yes. So in terms of the US government, the way that they calculate their gold and what it's worth, they are pricing it at $42 per ounce. We all know gold recently hit over 5,000 per ounce, right? You hear what I'm saying? And so what she's basically saying is that, and I've got a calculator pulled up, you can't see it, but you know, that's 120x difference between what the gold's actually worth and what we are pricing it at. So if and we've done it once before that I know of, where we increased it from like 35 to 42 on the books. But basically, this could be repriced. And then basically the Federal Reserve we could give the Federal Reserve those gold certificates, and then they could essentially print up the money from the rest of it. Like seriously, that's how it would work. And so it's crazy that it's never been revalued. And I'm not sure if that is like a tool in the tool belt, why they haven't revalued it, but it's definitely something that is, it's there. And we've been hearing more and more people talking about it. But I'm excited about the future of what we have with rate cuts, because they're definitely coming. If we look right here at Trueflation, we can see that, you know, the government and the Fed really have to be careful not to get into a deflationary environment. Right now, this is what you call disinflation, which is inflation going down. But when this number turns negative, that's deflation, and that's not good. That is not something that you want. And so if we get into a period of deflation, what we are going to see is intentional inflation via a ton of stimulus and a ton of money printing. And when or if that comes, it's going to be extremely bullish for risk on assets. Let's come over here and take a look at what crypto Twitter is talking about. Yeah, so this guy's talking about Bitensor. So I made this post earlier. Bitensor Tau has capitulated under critical support around 160. I remain bullish on Tau despite price action. You can see right here, if you look, this has acted as support multiple times, the 160, 170 level, and it is currently under that level. And this post is doing pretty good, 4K views, so there's a lot of people interested in Bitensor Tau. One of the biggest examples why Tau is a massive winner is that even though price has a hard time, subnets are growing. And I agree 100% on that. We have to look at underlying fundamentals of a cryptocurrency or a project or a company, no matter what the asset is. It's the same reason why whenever I come over here and look at Caspa, that I posted a couple days ago, that I'm not even worried about the price of Caspa right now. What I'm worried about, the only thing that I really care about is this number, because this right here is computing power securing the network. And so if we go look back, this number has kind of stabilized since December, and it is slowly dropping. Okay. It's now at 401 petahashes, but this is the underlying data that matters for if it's Caspa secure, right? Not the price. The price obviously will have to come up or this number will continue to go down. However, right now, fundamentally, whenever I look at something like Caspa, and I know it's being dragged down with the rest of the market, I look at the things that Caspa can control, and that's the hash rate. And the same goes for looking at something like Bitensor Tau. You know, whenever we look at Bitensor Tau, my favorite AI project, you know, when you see subnets growing and everything that Bitensor does, even though it did lose this critical support, to me, it's just a discount. That's all it is to me. This is one that has very almost identical tokenomics to Bitcoin, 21 mil total supply, right? And so only 10% are circulating. So that's less than BTC, obviously, because it was started later than BTC. But just for overall price comparisons, like if you look at the fully diluted value of 3.36 bill for Bitensor Tau, and then you come over here and you look at the FDV for Bitcoin, you can just see the potential. And I'm never saying that Bitensor is going to pass that BTC. But if you believe that we are in an artificial intelligence revolution, that it's going to change the way that the world operates, something like Bitensor Tau is obviously extremely solid. And, you know, never financial advice, but it's something that I am extremely bullish on. And if you didn't hear me say it, I am not a financial advisor. I like doing that. Oh, where'd my thing go? Look, it don't look so pretty without an overlay. Look at this. Bah. Oh man, shout out to Chili Pepper for hooking me up with these overlays. But let's go back. Let's look at what else some of our community wanted to look at. If y'all have anything else, drop it down in the comments. I'll make sure to get to it. Where we Pingu. Yeah, Pingu is actually my favorite meme coin. Neras. Okay, let's look at this. Quebec. Oh, Cubic. Okay, I've had a lot of people mention this one to me, Cubic. I've seen the founder. Kind of freaks me out a little bit. Doesn't look like the most trustworthy dude in my personal opinion. Don't sue me, bro, but but we can look into it. But what is this one? This one interests me a little bit. If we take a look at it, the quantum proof layer of internet. Okay, I just say anytime I see quantum, I kind of like want to take a deeper look into it to see, is it legit or is it LARP? Because a lot of people, just like in the 1999, 2000.com bubble, people would say, oh, we're the internet, we're www. Or whenever that, right now we're in the AI boom, right? So anything that puts, artificial intelligence into it, gets like automatically a huge valuation. And so the same's kind of the case with quantum, right? Even if you go in stock market, you can go look at quantum things, and some of them are like shell companies. And so, yeah, just be cautious anytime you see that. But this looks legit. 250,000 followers, have been around since February of 2022. Nearest protocol has been cited. Okay, let's take a look. Fascinating discussion with Alejandra Botron about Guatemala's future. Okay. Nearest for exchanges. Centralized and decentralized exchanges are not quantum secure today. They sit at the center of the crypto economy, custodying, routing, matching, and settling trillions of dollars of value. For many users, they are a primary gateway between crypto and TradFi. Yes, Yet, despite their scale and sophistication, many exchanges and trading platforms rely on infrastructure and cryptographic assumptions that were not designed for quantum era threats. And when failure happens, it's going to be major. This applies across exchanges, Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, as well as Uniswap, Hyperliquid. So is there a token associated with that? I mean, I'm guessing so. Let's but you also have to wonder, like, you know, not everything needs a token, right? Like just use Pump Fun as an example. It had an awesome platform, or awesome, right? It was successful. And then they released a token, but the token has absolutely nothing to do with the platform. And a whole bunch of people are buying vaporware. So you just have to be, I'm not saying this has anything to do with that. I'm just saying overall. But 14 mil market cap, okay. 6.74 volume to market cap ratio. Okay, Mikey likey. Let's go. Let's look. 4 bill total supply. There is a max supply. Okay, so we've got a lot of inflation coming in the future with this. You can see only 15% of the supply is in circulation. If we switch this to market cap, so take a look at this chart. Let's switch it to market cap. Okay, it looks the same. So that tells us there hasn't been a ton of inflation thus far. If we look at where they're listed, Binance out, that's not regular Binance, guys. BitGet, Gate, Mexi, BingX, BitUnix, Biconomy. Are they on Blofin? Let me look. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, guys, if you're just joining, we got 250 in here. Blofin is the official exchange of Finance Freeman. If you want to, it'll be pinned right here. Would love to have you join. And also, guys, if anyone's interested in being with the community, this right here is my Discord. It's like $1.50 a day, something like that. I post all my trades, technical analysis, all kinds of stuff, very educational. There will be a WAP link somewhere. If you just searched X or in the YouTube description, it should be there. But we would love to have you. But nonetheless, that's where I share all my everything that I'm doing before it makes it here, makes it to YouTube or X. But let's look at this Neris project. So I want to look at the order book. Let's filter. I mean, there's a good amount of volume on it, right? And people seem pretty bullish. If we look at the chart here, yeah, like I don't like to count up the wicks. I would rather touch more bodies of candles, you see? Like don't take these little random wicks up. So that's how I would draw it personally. You can see the 10-10 wick. I always know exactly where October 10th is because they all have this crazy wick on it somewhere. But okay, yeah. So let's go look. This is a 14M market cap. That's what I love so much about Blofin is because they list things super early and they just listen to the community too. Because I was like, hey, I really like Circle. I like Circle. I'm bullish on Circle. Can we get it added? And like 2 days later, it was added. So I absolutely love that. But yeah, this looks good, guys. Never financial advice, obviously, but it looks good. Let's go review the website a little more now that we know that this is a 14 mil market cap project. At one point tagged 100 mil, but that same week it ended up coming down and closing at 50. So 50% drawdown after that pump. But, you know, these are low market cap things, right? I always say, when I'm invested in these, I realize that this is Silicon Valley, essentially. You know, these are startups. We're at the front of a revolution of finance, of coming on-chain finance. And there's volatility that comes with that. And there's things that are going to go to zero that come with that. But As far as a DPIN project, it's a narrative such as Render, Render's AI and DPIN, Akash DPIN, things like that. But they can loop into the AI sector as well. But, DPIN is especially when you're able to have, this decentralized network. So Nearest Protocol is delighted to be named DPIN Project of the Year once again. So it's happened more than once. Who nominated you though? It's like, if I'm just curious of that. We appreciate the recognition. It reflects infrastructure. It's like if I was the best baseball player, but my mom nominated me. It's like, huh? What? Your boy was the water boy. What are you talking about? Fill up my Gatorade, son. No. As a part of our partnership with Mova Chain. So who's Mova Chain? Oh, another quantum. Okay. As part of our partnership with Mova Chain, North Protocol has entered the next phase of collaboration following a formal signing ceremony in Abu Dhabi, to support the next phase. 400 mil Nearest will be bridged to Mova Chain. Okay. So we've got doxed people. I like that. Official signing ceremony. That's cute. Good little picture. Let's see. Got some more comments coming. Yeah, guys, if y'all want me to look at anything, just let me know. Nearest will level up the entire crypto landscape to post-quantum security. It's only a matter of time. So I'm looking at this. Who is Nearest? This is perfect. Okay. They have an article. As Web3 continues to evolve, it's becoming increasingly clear that decentralization alone does not equate to security. While blockchains have fundamentally changed how value ownership and coordination work online, they still rely on an underlayer level of infrastructure that was never designed to operate trustless or quantum era conditions. So securing layer ones and layer twos, blockchain consensus mechanism. So I like this. And let me tell you why. Is because you're not betting on a specific layer one. You're not betting on a specific layer two. You're not even betting on a specific niche. You're betting on crypto with this, and you're betting that crypto needs quantum security. And so I kind of look at this as like an Oracle play, right? It's not an Oracle at all. But whenever I've always looked at Chainlink, I thought, okay, I'm bullish on crypto. Chainlink, I'm bullish on DeFi. Chainlink is where you get the price feeds from this chain to this chain, from off chain to this chain. So it's going to be needed, right? It's something that's needed. And when I look at Nearest, it's similar to the same thing, because it's something that they're not servicing one specific chain. It doesn't look like they're not, one specific narrative. They're sitting here trying to solve an underlying problem that essentially 99.9% of blockchains have. Algorand doesn't have it. They're already quantum proof. There's a few other ones that claim that they're quantum proof, but Nearest is one that's going to be needed, for a lot of places, or at least maybe not this token specifically, but at least the quantum upgrading is going to be needed. And so that's something that, I like it. I'm glad we found that one. I think I'll definitely do some more research on it, and maybe we come back with a full detailed video. So let's go back and see if there was any more that stand out to any of us as being something that we need to look into today. Arrow and Say. Okay, let's look at them. So when we come over here and look at Aerodrome Finance is one that I was extremely bullish on. If you go back and look at my very early YouTube videos before I had made any money and was able to invest in all of this, to bring you the best quality crypto content, I was talking about Aerodrome Finance, and I was talking about Velodrome Finance and comparing the two. And Aerodrome started off as a decentralized exchange for base chain. I think they've recently moved over and they have a lot of offerings now, a lot of different chains. But you can still see that for a lot of people, it is used primarily. Now, obviously, this is the Aerodrome token trading, but you could see that 15% of the volumes on their DEX or 18% on Coinbase. So it's definitely highly used. My only hesitation for Aerodrome Finance has been the flywheel mechanism, because it's a very inflationary token. if we just look at how much supply comes in. And so during a bull market, when people are buying it, it's not a problem. But as you can see here, max supply is infinity. But during a bear market, when people are not buying it, then it just, you know, adds to the downward price action that it's been able to have. So like here's should be a good example. Let's look. You can see it looks like it's at these all-time lows right now. Now let's switch to market cap. Okay, and you can see it's actually higher here. You see where we're at up here versus when you go to price, it's down here. So that's how you're able to see that there's actually more money in this ecosystem right now. However, the price is lower. That tells you inflation. So it's something we always have to look out for. I'm not too big. I'm not really looking at building my portfolio for decentralized exchange tokens. Even centralized exchange tokens, if I'm being completely honest, it's not one that I'm, I need a cough drop. It's not one that I'm really wanting to build the portfolio on. But when we come over here and we look at Say, this is one that I know a lot of people are bullish on. I remember looking at Sui and Say kind of as competitors in the layer one ecosystem before Sui ever popped off. And Sui popped off, did very well. If we look at this, let's go to market cap. So again, this is a good example of it. You can see price is down lower than it ever was when it launched. However, market cap is actually higher than when it launched. So what does that tell you? Inflation, guys. Always look at these assets in market cap. However, there is a max supply here of 10 bill Say. Currently 6.61 bill is circulating. If we come over here, they're listed essentially everywhere you would imagine a layer one to be listed. But Allure Pixel, he posted this on Coin Market Cap, and I am a verified Coin Market Cap partner, by the way, so you can check out all my posts over on Coin Market Cap. But here's unlocks coming up this week. You can see the pump fund token that has absolutely no real correlation to pump.fund vaporware has unlocks. Story IP, but Say has unlocks about 1% of the supply. So it's always important for us to look at these when these unlocks are occurring. When, you know, how much is the unlock? Because all of that could add into overall selling pressure. So when we look at how the tokenomics are, you know, laid out, the foundation, staking rewards 15% because it's a proof of stake network. Foundation 9%. That private sale 20%. So this is definitely a very heavily VC backed token, right? It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Some of the best projects we ever seen have been, you know, VC backed tokens. Whether you're going back to the ICO realm of having you know, BNB, Ethereum, Solana, like a lot of those IPO'd at like under a, you know, $1. But you could see that over the last, if we go from, let's just say here, which was October of 2023, so about 2.5 years ago, you can see that the overall tokens, just look at, you know, unlocked circulating supply, 1.2 bill to where we are today, it's tripled. If we fast forward and get to about 1.5 years from now, we're going to plateau a good amount, right? We're going to plateau to where inflation really, really slows a lot. So if we are going into like a bear market, which I think we are in, and I've said before that I think we're going to bottom around September or October, and that aligns with a few things. It aligns with the historical 1-year bear market. It aligns with when liquidity would enter the system, because there's a new Federal Reserve chair coming mid-May. Give it 5 or 6 months for liquidity to flow into the system. Also, when you talk about the Clarity Act, that's supposed to be Q2 or Q3, might even be pushed back to Q4 of this year. That's regulatory clarity. And so that's kind of, in my mind, when everything is going to turn around. And so if you're looking at something like this, if we fast forward to like October, the difference between now at 490 or at 6.61 Say, and the difference between end of the year is about 1.7 bill Say of inflation. And so something like this is something I personally would not DCA in here. Do whatever you want. Never financial advice. But me, I would look at this and say, you know, I think the bottom could potentially be there. I think that there's going to be inflation. There's less demand because we're in a bear, things like that. But whenever it comes down to being able to look at, is the network actually being used? I think we have to go to like a block explorer and try to look at the, you know, transactions. So here, good amount of transactions. Let's see if we can look at some better data, you know, and you trust that this data is accurate and everything. But so when we look at the wallets, 11%, 4%, 2%, like distribution looks pretty good. I don't know what this top wallet is. Hopefully they have it listed. Hopefully it's one of these, like the staking rewards or something wallet. It used to be 15%, 11.61. If it was 3.5% gone from staking, that would make sense. A lot of these are exchanges. Some of these may be exchanges that haven't listed yet. They may just not be labeled. But yeah, Say is one that I do like. It's, you know, it's something that I've said before, that we don't need a billion layer ones. You know, maybe we need 5 layer ones. You know, if I look at my wallet right here, pull it out, you know, I probably have, you know, I have MasterCard and I have Visas in here, and I have Tangent Wallet. I definitely recommend that. But you know, and then there's also American Express, but I don't have that. But I don't think we need like 85 processors of credit card payments, right? Obviously we don't. That's why you have Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, the big 3. Same with layer ones. I don't think we're going to need a ton. And I think if we can find the right ones, it'll be good. Because if we come over here and we go to cryptocurrencies categories, let's see if we can find layer ones. Layer one's is a huge narrative for me, because I think that it's obviously the infrastructure that is, you know, cryptocurrency, but we have so many of them right now, and people are all, you know, putting their bets on different ones and things like that. But like, look, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, they're going to be around, right? You already know what I think about Tron. Get rid of it. Bitcoin Cash, you know, it's a spinoff, but again, I don't think we need it. Cardano, I do like ADA. It's just not getting the adoption. Like, I'm a big fan of Charles Hodgkinson. I think it's hilarious. I love watching his live streams, and on his microphone, he has like a lobster. Like, he's just a gem in the space, right? But the truth is, like, ADA's not being used a lot. There's no stable coins, like at least not USDT or Tether on Cardano, right? Hyperliquid is in a league of its own, you know, but when I look at this, yeah, maybe you could have a Wall Street chain. Maybe you could have, you know, one within the BNB ecosystem. It's big enough. Maybe you have a, you know, trench train, like, you know, it's like a retail investor chain. Maybe Hyperliquid's going to be, you know, top liquidity trading. Maybe that's real world assets. Maybe you have a privacy chain. HBAR, maybe you have a ISO 20022 chain, right? But do we really need, you know, Bittensor Tout? Maybe you have a decentralized AI chain. Maybe here, Internet Computer, maybe another AI chain. Caspa, I believe this has the potential to be a top 3 cryptocurrency. You know, that's why it's one of my highest conviction plays. Algorand could be for real world assets. But do we really need like 30 or 40 or 50 layer ones, right? Like, I really think this list could be narrowed down to 25 to 30, and then eventually narrow down to 10 once we see who the real winners are. You know, this is the Kita we looked at earlier, KTA. I definitely want to take a lot of look into it. Nano, I don't know. Do we need it? Here's Cubic. Somebody asked me about it. I'll tell you what rubbed me wrong about this one before I even look into it, is if you come over here and you type in Cubic, first off, it's a bad name. I don't like it. But second of all, if you look at it, Cubic Caspa, all you have is like these people talking mess about Caspa, or Caspa people talking mess about Cubic, whatever it is, you know. And even the founder of Cubic, or whatever, however you pronounce it, like, let me see if I can find them. He kind of looks like Vitalik. If I'm thinking of the right guy. Let me look. Yeah, this guy. Okay. Sergey Ivanchilo. Sounds Russian. My wife is from Russia. Privyet to any of my Russian friends over there. IOTA co-founder, first DAG protocol. I'm not too sure about that. Best crypto deal. You know, it looks like a competitor of Caspa, but I don't think it holds a candlestick to Caspa, if I'm just being completely honest with you. And honestly, the price action has shown it. I mean, it's a 70 mil market cap. You know, I would really invite people to come, you know, limited exchanges, things like that. I would really encourage anybody that likes proof of work technology to do their own research on Caspa and what it's capable of and what's being built with vprogs and everything else. But what I would discourage from absolutely anybody is like kind of crapping on other people, like, or that's not a way to bring adoption to our communities, right? Like what I was showing you about that keto one earlier. I could have wrote that guy off and not looked at it. I'm glad I didn't, but he's like, oh, you don't have KTA on this list? Oh yeah, rookie. It's like, hey, that's not a way. Like, we don't all know everything, right? Like, it's impossible for all of us to know everything. But Michael Sutton, I'm trying to get him up here on the podcast. He's extremely smart, but I'm trying to find a way that we can dumb down Caspa's technology to the normal of norm folks. But there's a lot of things being built on Caspa right now. It's a block DAG. It's not a blockchain. Parallel blocks, 10 blocks per second. But I think we're going to see a lot of people coming over from Solana, Ethereum, Base, BNB, all other chains building on Caspa. But that's what Caspa needs. We've got to get adoption building onto Caspa, and we got to get vprogs, because like I was showing y'all earlier about the hash rate, we can't keep going down. But I'm extremely bullish on Caspa long term, no matter what these bubbles look like. Thanks for your Neurois analysis. I hope my CMC message helped you discover and dig more on the project. Did you comment on my CMC post, or are you talking about a different something you posted on CMC? Let's see. Yeah, are you part of the team? I'm guessing this is you right here, CBID. Maybe not. Let me know if you're part of the team. Maybe we could have y'all up on the stream and talk about what y'all are trying to build. I really like it. And clip that out if you want to and post it. You are Warren Norris mainnet Q1. Yeah, like I said, okay. So we got this guy. Is this guy? Let me look. Kind of looks similar, but I don't think so. I don't know. We'll look. But guys, the market is going to do what the market does. I think I've been personally, like I said, never financial advice, but what I'm doing, kind of range trading, stuff like that. As you can see, range trading all through here, all these, very short trades, stuff like that. I'll list most of them, all of them in the Discord. But I think we're just in a time right now to where we've got a lot of uncertainty in the world. The stock market, one of the biggest things I'm watching is the Qs right here. NASDAQ, anything tech related, really anything stock related. The Dow Jones just hit 50K, right? The S&P's at 7K. And, I'm a little worried about a rollover. Could we go back and test the Liberation Day lows? I hear a lot of people calling for that, which would be these lows back here, which represents a pretty steep drop in the market. That would be major. We probably don't get that low, but, even if we were to get down to like 500 per se, it's 20% drop. That's going to bring crypto down with it. It's going to bring basically all assets down with it. But I argue that that's healthy and that's needed. When you have these parabolic moves in the stock market, parabolic moves in crypto, it's good to have a reset. It's good to let people take profit. It's good to turn those shares over. If everybody bought their BTC at $1,000 It's kind of just like a ticking time on who's gonna, like, when are people going to start flooding for the gates. However, if we're able to have people, and that's what I think has happened with the ETFs, is that when you have people that bought back down here and they wrote it up for a 14x and they sold, it's good because now we're resetting the floor, right? You see all these DATs buying, you see all these new people getting involved. I bought Bitcoin at 85 grand, I bought it at 70, I bought it at 120. I'm going to keep buying it. It's good. It's good. It's good because whenever you raise the floor price of an asset, that's how it condenses that spring for the next run up, right? And that's really how you get a long-standing asset class and things like that. And so I'm extremely excited about it. I think that, it's a weird time for me to go all in on my business, but overall, I think it's healthier. Market breadth is surging. 65.6 of S&P stocks have outperformed the index over the last 3 months, the highest reading. This is the 5th strongest market participation in 23 years. By comparison, the long-term average is 50%, while the 20-year low is 19. This marks a sharp reversal from late 2025. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of people, institutional investors are buying more and more. What's Pompliano talking about? Is he going to talk about BRR? Let's take a look.
Two big drivers of Bitcoin going forward. The first is that you're going to get these supply shocks in the halving. The second thing is I think that artificial intelligence and AI agents, this morning our public company is announcing the very first agentic financial firm.
That's where I wanted to go.
And what I believe is that both Bitcoin and stablecoins are going to be the money for all of these AI agents. And when you see this and you look at some of the Claude bot and various demos that are out there, they basically create wallets. And they're saying to themselves, where do I hold my money, right? If I'm an AI agent, what do? I can't go get a regular bank account. And so they're spinning up these wallets and they're saying, I'm going to hold it in Bitcoin.
That's exactly what I said. And, this is actually, like I said, their financial advice, but I invested in BRR earlier, which is Anthony Pompliano's company. I bought in around $2.11, somewhere in here this morning. And then he came on CNBC and shilled it. And so obviously it went up a little bit, but this company is, I think, 130 M market cap, something like that. Well, now it's 200 because it's went up, but they hold like 5,000 BTC, 70 million cash. They've got Anthony Pompliano as the founder, who obviously, has a lot of screen time, being able to, be on CNBC. This is him right here. I actually DM'd him earlier. I hope he gets back to me. I would absolutely love to have him on, talk to him. But he said they acquired this company. And what's interesting about this is within the agreement, this company doesn't get paid unless the share price of BRR gets to $9, what he said. And it's currently, like I said, 237. And like I said, full disclosure, I bought like 1,000 shares at so not like crazy amount, a few grand. And because this is a very low market cap company, but he's trying to be the first AI type trading company with BTC. It's kind of confusing, right? But my main thing is that I think that that he's a big face, 2 million almost on X. He's obviously on CNBC. He's all over the place, right? So ProCap Financial, that's the BRR company, has been busy in capital markets. They bought back 2% of the outstanding stock approximately, retired 135 M of convertible notes, paying 119 M for them, acquired 7 BTC from non-dilutive yield generation. The company is trading at significant discount to NAV, but these should help. And so if you look, MNAV basically means assets, like what the MNAV is a way to look at what is like all the assets owned. Like if they own 100 million worth of BTC, for instance, but the company is 80 million market cap, then that's a 0.8 MNAV, right? So it's basically saying the assets that the company holds, the stock is actually cheap compared to that. That's what everyone looks at for MicroStrategy. At what point does MicroStrategy become cheaper than its Bitcoin holding? Because then theoretically it's like getting a discount on BTC. Whereas whenever it goes the other way around and now the company is 2x, 3x of the Bitcoin holdings, okay, maybe it's too expensive of a company, right? And so I think what this is saying right here is that if it was priced accordingly, it would be $3.92 currently. They own 5,007 Bitcoin, 72 mil in cash. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, he's like a huge opinion, like KOL, if you want to call him that, key opinion leader, but first publicly traded agentic finance firm, a modern finance firm that prioritizes automation and AI agents instead of human headcount. Retail access to fast-growing startups, Silva. So I'm extremely excited about BRR. I'm a big fan of Anthony Pompliano. Like I said, I DM'd him. I hope he gets back to me. Chili, make sure you clip this up. I would love it. That's the guy helps me with clipping and stuff. Would love to have that. But he just posts a lot of really good stuff over here talking about everything from inflation to why the Fed should cut rates. And he's one talking about deflationary, being a big deal. Because even though, and this is true, because inflation has been falling aggressively, the deflationary force of AI, robotics, tariffs are swallowing the U.S. economy. And you've got to think about this as in terms of how production is met, right? And so the more productive a society is, inflation should go down, or the cost of goods should go down. And so we're at a really weird time right now to where job numbers aren't looking that great. Like they're not, we're not blowing the roof off with job numbers or anything. Heck, I was able to go full-time in my company, my business that I'm building myself, because, well, not only did I work to save up for it and to invest in it and worked hard for that, but my job was doing layoffs, and I raised my hand and got a severance package. And so I was kind of a product in a way, even though I wanted it, of the job market suffering. However, we see GDP, gross domestic product, last quarter, like 4%, like blowing expectations out of the water. And we're at a time that we've been in a fiscally tight period, right? High interest rates, the Fed reducing their balance sheet, and the AI and robotics coming in are making everything more efficient. And that's where we're seeing inflation, or what we would call disinflation, which is the reduction of inflation, going down. Right now, if we ever get into deflation, where this number would be negative, like I said, that's where the Fed would have to pivot big time and basically inflate the economy on its own. But yeah, hopefully we can get Anthony Pompliano up. That would be absolutely amazing. But we've got a lot of cool things coming up for you guys. No matter what the market is, I am always cooking, always building. Like I said, we're going to have Algorand up, come talk about some of their stuff, Alpha Arcade, Lofty. We're going to have Quai Network come up, which is one that we can go take a look at right now. I don't want to forget about that. This is another proof of work network. Had a big sell-off out the gate. Chart doesn't look much different from, other fresh launches, but this is the cool thing. Look, here it is. It was up here and it dropped down here. And now the token price is 5 cents, where it was at 20 cents at one point. But if you go to market cap, there's a lot more money in the ecosystem now. So currently a 40 mil market cap is still a very, very small layer one. Working on a lot of exchanges, Gate.io, Mexi, LBank. They were even listed on, and I'm using the wrong verbiage, but essentially like Kraken's roadmap, which is really cool. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that. Let's get over to some of the comments. Keep up the great work, Pumpolinski. A buddy I met, he's a YouTuber. Make sure you go check him out. Who is this? Super Chat, the crypto channel. Keep up the awesome work, my friend. Love what you're doing, delivering into the live aspect. Very informative. Thank you. That's a good friend of mine. I appreciate it. Yo, check roll. Send me a super chat, Empress, and I will. Good morning, everyone. Let's go check out Roll. Let's go check out Roll. Just because she's my friend. And we're going to be at ETH Denver soon, meeting some people. So let's look. I believe this is on base, right? Yeah, I hadn't done too much work or look into it, but you could see here, shot up. Let's look at market cap. Okay, so it's down here at about 12 mil market cap, shot up to about 25, currently around 17. Listed on Uniswap, Binance Alpha. That's not regular Binance, guys. BitGet, Mexi, BingX, Kraken. Wow, they're already on Kraken. XT.com, hot coin. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's look. The perp layer for on-chain finance. 1,000 leverage. Never do that, guys. I'm sure they offer less, but yeah. That's crazy. 100% community owned, powered by Base. Introduce and roll the token designed to connect everything we built so far, trading, liquidity, vaults, community programs into one shared ownership and governance layer. Over the past year, users have traded roll V1. Okay. I think that's supposed to say stress tested the vaults. We might want to correct that. And participated across quest, campaigns, and point programs. TVL 26 mil, accumulative volume 30 bill, 354 trades. She said her long-term gem. Trade BTC and top. So it's like a perps for base, pretty much, is what it looks like to me. Let's look at what the platform looks like. Yeah, so it looks kind of like a Hyperliquid, like a decentralized type exchange thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll take a deeper look into it. You know, we all seen Hyperliquid do extremely well. You know, if you just take a look at Hype, it really has all the liquidity. It's crazy, like what they've been able to build here, and they have their own layer one. So, you know, it's interesting. I wonder if this is in Roll's roadmap, because Roll is built on Base chain, as you could see, powered by Base, and Hyperliquid originally was built on Arbitrum. Okay, and so Arbitrum's a layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum, the same way that Base is a layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum. However, you can see that that they now have their own layer 1, right? And that's kind of like where Aster is right now. Aster's kind of at that in between range, like they're on BNB, but they want to have their own layer 1. And so Hyperliquid's obviously the gold standard when it comes to that, or liquidity, or just perp decks in general. They kind of made it what it is. Let's see if we're missing any more that anybody wanted us to look at, or if there's any more that y'all got in the comments, let me know. Like I said, Pingu, one of my favorite memes. I think it could potentially become the number 2 meme one day behind Dogecoin. Algorand, yep, love it. You should have Quebec in the list. Yeah, we looked at that. 2 people mentioned this SCRT, Privacy First L1. Let's do a quick look at it. SCRT. See if they're on CoinMarketCap. If they're not, I ain't gonna look into it too much. SCRT. Secret. Who doesn't love a good secret? I only like secrets if I'm in on the secret. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to be on the outside of a secret. Okay, what is this? Are we giving this thing, are we putting a defibrillator on it and try to bring it back to life? Let's look. Just joking. I'm just joking. Let's see. Wow. For real? I'm 97% down. Wow. But that doesn't mean anything. Really, it doesn't. Like, I mean, if you look at Zcash looks similar, right? Like Zcash was one that was here for a long time. And so what I like about this is that, you know, it's been around since 2020. Secret, you know, and it's been a secret because I had no idea it existed. Let's come over here. Explorer update. Mint scan is being retired. Experience the future of private AI. Build secure AI on privacy first infrastructure. Tap secret networks, confidential computing. Secret Network is the first mainnet blockchain with privacy-preserving smart contracts launched in 2020. This makes it possible to build apps that are decentralized. Confidential computing hub of Web3 and AI. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do some more look on this one for sure, Secret, because like I said, I'm not just going to write it off because it's old and because it's down a lot. You know, I don't think that's right. Let's come over here, see what people are saying. On the weekly, it looks like it's done. Now boarding. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do some more research on this, and I'll update y'all tomorrow on what I find. I want to let me see, where is it at? For anybody that just joined, I want to remind everyone that this campaign is expiring in a couple hours, guys. If y'all want to join, Blofin is the official centralized exchange of finance Freeman, and they're where I use to do all my trading, such as this right here. And then also, if you want to know what I am trading and stuff, we do have a Discord. There will be a WAP link down below or somewhere that you can figure it out. Like in here, we were talking, and I said if I ever get divorced, I'll probably accidentally lose my Tangent wallet. But my wife loves me so much. There's no way she would divorce me and everything. But yeah, guys, go check out our channel sponsor if you are interested. Like always, nothing I ever say is financial advice in here. It's just what I'm doing, the research I'm doing. But it means the world to me that over 400 of y'all want to come watch live, and I'm sure many more will watch and tune in. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you don't subscribe on YouTube, please do. We'll have one full, now that I'm getting this everything full time and getting the stream down, and I've hired some help to help with editing and stuff, that we're going to have one full detailed review like of a crypto project uploaded every week. We're going to have, that's a funny comment, we'll go over it in a minute, but one full detailed review once a day, so 5 days a week. And then we're also going to have the live stream. We're going to have a lot of clips. Like y'all seen, this one clip did pretty good, got like 50 something thousand views. I was happy about that. Just getting more people to come join the Finance Freeman family. Hey, your accent sounds a lot like George Bush. Interesting. Well, we're from the same state, so if that tells you anything, I'm a little cowboy. In fact, when I get done with this, I'm gonna go clean my horse off and gas it up so I can go to the gas station in a little bit. But guys, I love you. We streamed for almost 2 hours today. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, and make a 20x or whatever. Throw a dart at something, and make. We got to be selective in these markets, guys. It's not 2021. It's not 2017 anymore. Casbah. I absolutely love it, guys. And I love every single one of y'all. Thank y'all for joining. See you tomorrow.